Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode and brand new week of yours truly, Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only Philly Pete, and we are live on 12 Ounce Sports Network and Zingo TV. As usual, this show is sponsored by MyBookie. If you're looking, basically, live sports may be on hold to you, but that's not the case with MyBookie. They've got tons of action for you to get in on the fun over at mybookie.ag. Whether it's esports or overseas baseball is your thing, we've got you covered when you use the promo code 12 ounce sports. That's 12OZ sports, all one word when making a deposit. Now you have a bunch of soccer up and coming as well. It appears that the French soccer league is on hold. It appears they're not going to be finishing up the season. However, long and behold, the German league is going to be coming back. The Bundesliga, May 9th, is what is the set date for return. And then La Liga, the Spanish league, is supposed to be coming back in early June. And like I said as well on last week's show, we have the Champions League returning back in August. So that is phenomenal news for all you soccer fans out there. Those that like to bet on soccer, this is going to be very, very high volume for MyBookie. So by all means, please use the promo code 12 ounce sports. That's 12OZ sports. All one word when making a deposit. They'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. If you don't feel like watching baseball at 2 o'clock in the morning, I know I'm sleeping, and I sure as heck don't want to be watching baseball at 2 in the morning. However, MyBookie has you covered with an online casino to scratch that itch. It is a very, very good online casino. You have live dealers, you have blackjack, you have roulette, three-card poker, whatever it may be. Please use it, the MyBookie casino. Once again, go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code 12 ounce sports. That's 12OZ sports today for free money when making your first deposit. Also, if you're looking to freshen up your look for the summer, you have to check out 12 Ounce Sports' new line of clothing. We've got everything from shirts and sweaters to beach towels and phone cases. Summer is right around the corner. Find the store online today at 12ozsportsradio.com under our store tab. There you'll find a wide variety of clothing items, colors, sizes that will suit your style, like Ric Flair. That's 12ozsportsradio.com under the Our Store tab. Also, Seat Giant is once again another sponsor of ours too. But once we get back in the action of sports, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a little while till we get fans in stadiums. And but however, Seat Giant, when we do have fans back into regulation, when we can do this, please use Seat Giant if you want the first seat of the first row in the house of any of your sports team. Please go there. And last but not least, Zingo TV. When signing up for an account for Zingo TV, please make sure you use the promo code 12 ounce 12OZ, one word, and that is it. And you'll be basically streaming all these amazing and phenomenal shows that we can provide to you on the 12 Ounce Sports Network, including yours truly, Pete's Power Plays, along with all the others that we have for you, and they are all absolutely amazing. And we're very, very happy that you all out there are streaming live to all our shows, and let us entertain you while we are indoors during this quarantine and pandemic. Good news is that looks like May 1st, some places in the PA area, they are lifting certain situations and places. So I believe golf courses are going to be lifted, so you can go out and golf again, as long as you have the mask and as long as you keep your distance. Obviously, it looks like they're still going to do the one golf cart per golfer. So instead of having two people in a cart, you're going to have two, one for each person. So golfing will be limited, but they'll be lifting that as well, and a few other outdoorsy places as well that you can go to, as well as parks. I believe parks are also opening up on May 1st in the PA area. So just stay tuned for that. Things, as we hear on the go, are lifting as we speak. However, quarantine is still in effect till April 30th in most states here, including mine in South Jersey and like I said, in the Philly area. But once everything's said and done here, again, I'm looking forward to the summer, because I think I think Memorial Day weekend is a wash, but to me, July 4th weekend, I think, is going to be when everything should be lifted And of course, keep your distancing. And I'm always going to have my mask on regardless. So hey, if I'm on the beach in South Jersey in Wildwood, by all means, I'll have my mask on while I'm drinking a case of Corona. So it's all good. So, but other than that, everything's great here. Hope everyone's staying safe. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I hope everyone had a great draft night as well, unless if you are the Green Bay Packers, which I will talk about later on. However, I want to speak about the update in the NHL. I have a lot on tap today, so let's get to it. So Friday, first off, shout out there to Logan and Lou for hosting Thursday night's NFL coverage of Round 1 on 12 Ounce Sports Network. They did one hell of a job, and followed up by myself and Aaron from Vegas Squares Radio. We both concluded the 12 Ounce Sports Network coverage of the NFL Draft by hosting on Friday night, rounds 2 and 3. For about 6 hours, we were on the air with all you out there. What a grind it was, and boy, did we have fun. And we want to appreciate each and every one of you out there that tuned in live to our show, and hope you enjoyed it. So I look forward to many, many more future drafts and hosting them on yours truly, 12 Ounce Sports Network. So, to me, the NHL, it's been forever since we've seen a game, obviously. We're going on to 2 months now. May 12th will be the second month without any sort of hockey since the quarantine. To me, it felt like it's been 6 months, maybe even close to a year. But, along and behold, we're basically floating through a black, quiet abyss, lost among the desolation. I know it sounds so space-related, but that's just how it feels. I feel like we're just suckered into the Milky Way and dark holes all over the place. However, it's there's been a disclaimer out there. Personally, I don't see it to continue like in the season of this, basically in the state of the world that we're in right now. It's tough to me. I would love for hockey and basketball to return, even if it's at minimal sites. I'm hearing at least 3 of them. I'm hearing Edmonton, I'm hearing Carolina, and I'm also hearing in Florida, in Sunrise, where the Panthers are. Those are the 3 potential landing spots to continue the season with no fans, of course. But listen, I will take that than no hockey whatsoever, let alone basketball. I'm hearing NBA it might come back and holding potential spots. Obviously, I think one in Canada. Vegas, I heard, was another landing spot. But again, we will see what happens. So, March 12th was NHL suspended its season temporarily, and here we go. You had Ottawa Senators. Basically, a player on the Sens tested positive for the coronavirus, and then on the 26th of March, a Colorado Avalanche player tested positive. And again, they won't really announce who it was, but I believe Cal Maker was one of the confirmed cases from the Avs, and it's just obviously implications that we need to basically pay attention to. So NHL self-quarantine mandates were extended again. They were on April 15th and now through April 30th, as I mentioned earlier. And, I just feel that NHL would continue extending the quarantine periods by 2 weeks until the potential season resumption faded in the rearview mirror. So recently, like I said, a lot of states and self-isolations may be coming to an end at the conclusion of April, which is great news. Many states and local municipalities are lifting their respective stay-at-home orders by May 1st. So like I said before, this is the light at the end of the tunnel for everybody here. So on a side term, NBA is basically beginning to reopen team facilities, practice facilities on May 1st. So to me, that's a good sign for NBA. I also think NHL should do the same. So we will see what direction the NHL goes to, but this is a good sign for the NBA. And like I said, it's a very good sign. It shares a lot of the same facilities as the NBA. So, however, there has been no decision yet on the NHL to follow this suit. So we will see what happens. I've been hearing a lot of speculation that May 15th will be the date that NHL will open their facility. I believe I mentioned this about a month ago on my show, that it would probably be in the middle of May. So to me, May 15th sounds pretty suitable to me. But another word is saying, per John Scott on Twitter, saying that NHL camps will begin again on June 1st. And European players are able to come back to the U.S. to play hockey again. So either way, we're looking at middle of May to as early as as late as June 1st. So within that span, again, it's about a month away. So you're looking at a couple weeks to a month until NHL opens back up as well. So this is great news for both NBA and NHL. And like I said, we will see what happens. Gary Bettman did a Zoom interview with Ron MacLean where Bettman said that he thinks that there would be at least 3 weeks of training camp. So to me, this makes me think that NHL could resume on 4th of July weekend, especially the way teams need to come back in the action from being away for so long. I really do think that 3 weeks, maybe even a month, to consider practice for teams is doable, which makes me think that 4th of July weekend is a very, very good potential spot to start up. Everyone's off from work, obviously, and what way to start to kick back the resumed quote-unquote seasons for both NHL and NBA by doing it on 4th of July weekend. So that would be pretty amazing news for everybody out there, and for fans like you and I as well. So stay tuned for that. This is going to be good. The border closure was extended again another 30 days. It's the U.S.-Canada border. It's obviously still remaining closed, but they extended the closure for another 30 days. So that's obviously going to take effect here as well. So it's going to be very difficult to do anything if the borders remain closed. So to me, that makes me think that Canada teams playing U.S. teams are going to be very, very tough. Let alone, especially that's it's still closed for the next month. So in the meantime, if they're going to open up shop in terms of practice facilities, and this is a good way to do it, kill those 30 days by practicing, and then hopefully by then they open the borders back up so that teams in Canada can play teams in U.S. and U.S. teams could play teams in Canada and start the typical scheduling of the NHL that we would have. So based on sites here, I did mention that Carolina, Florida, and Edmonton were on the list, which they are. A few others that I haven't mentioned that are on the list include Dallas, Vegas, Minnesota, and Columbus. So there's, again, 7 possible sites to host NHL games. Obviously you would have to consider having one in Canada for sure. I think Florida would make sense, and probably Carolina. But if you're going to have 2 East Coast ones, you should probably split it up and have one in the West. So maybe Vegas, Carolina, and Edmonton might be good. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. NHL draft obviously remains postponed as well, but based on what we saw from the NFL draft, NHL could definitely mimic what the NFL did this past week, and Bettman said he's considering it. He's very much considering the NHL draft be virtual, like the success that the NFL had over the weekend, which I thought was amazing. There was no interruptions. There was no static. Everything came through, which was a very, very successful NFL virtual draft. And basically, I would like to note that 17 million viewers, including myself, tuned in to watch the NFL draft this weekend. That is huge numbers, just skyrocketing, and you can't expect anything less than that. That's basically expected there. So NHL, we will see what happens come middle of May to June 1st as practice and facilities will open up to teams. And again, look forward to a July return of NHL and NBA. So stay tuned there. This is going to be very exciting. So moving on, winners and losers of the NFL draft. First and foremost, winners to me, obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals. Biggest winner by far, landed the face of the franchise, and obviously the most important quarterback position, and of any other team for sure. They also drafted T. Higgins, who I thought was a first-round pick, about a month ago, and now I'm just happy that he went off the board right away to Cincinnati. Best need that the Cincinnati Bengals could need there. Obviously, you queue up T. Higgins with A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd, so Burrow has three very solid, I should say, targets to look at. As long as A.J. Green is healthy and is on the field, that'd be great. We know Tyler Boyd's succession, and then you add up T. Higgins as well, and they're ready to go here. They also followed up with a linebacker, Logan Wilson, and another linebacker, Akeem Davis Gaither. So they pretty much fulfilled the needs on the defensive side in day 2 and 3 with the addition of T. Higgins. So good for them. Home run to me for sure. And congrats to the Bengals there, and good luck to Mr. Joe Burrow. Miami Dolphins, another winner as well to me. Obviously, Tua was who they won it last year, obviously. And you know what? They didn't have to trade anything. They didn't have to do anything. But stick at the position that they were at number 5. And long and behold, Tua. Mr. T himself, the Hawaiian man of Mr. Tua, going number 5 overall to the Miami Dolphins. It would have been a disappointment for Miami if it didn't wind up on the list because it entered with obviously 14 picks, including 3 first-rounders. But obviously, there was a lot to like about what the Dolphins took. So they also got Matt Breida from the 49ers to give Jordan Howard some help. So that would be nice additions to the backfield of Miami. Obviously, Tua was a huge piece for Miami, and they also got a potential starting tackle in Austin Jackson from Southern Cal, and a potential slot corner in Auburn's Noah Igbenogany, who will form a talented trio with big money outside corners like Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. So great offseason acquisitions for these teams, especially in Miami. They got Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis as well to fill up some key positions. So clearly the Dolphins are rebuilding right away, obviously. Good free agent, followed by a successful draft. These guys were winners to me, along with Cincinnati. And obviously, Tua becomes a true franchise quarterback. And obviously, I think they can compete very soon with, a Brady and with a Patriots, a non-factor Patriots team. So I think Buffalo is a undercoming team right now as well. So be on the lookout too. So we will see what happens in the future. But to me, Miami is looking up for sure. Dallas Cowboys, another winner, unfortunately. And I was mentioning this show. I was mentioning this conversation last night to Kevin when I was on the air of Preach to the Choir, and those that didn't tune in, I mentioned this that a couple of years ago we drafted a tight end by the name of Dallas Goedert, and that is someone that the Cowboys eyed up all week or 2 weeks prior to the draft. And Jason Witten went to the booth. So they needed a tight end big time. Dallas Goedert was top of their board. Jerry Jones was all excited. And here comes the Eagles with their selection. And they take Dallas Goedert to screw over the Dallas Cowboys. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 2020 and the first NFL virtual draft. And Dallas Cowboys, lo and behold, at 17th pick, select CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. Basically, the Eagles' target for the last 2 weeks, they were on the phone with him actually the past couple of days prior to the draft saying how we're going to land you and how they could potentially move up, which they didn't, to select you. And listen, they had all the means to do it. They could have done it. They could have switched up with Atlanta because Atlanta wanted to get C.J. Henderson from Florida, but obviously he went to Jacksonville, so Atlanta just went to some random Clemson cornerback who was probably a second or third round draft player, and they got cold feet. However, again, they could have gotten him at 21. So a lot of speculation with Eagles moving up to Atlanta's spot. Even I heard the Jets or the Cleveland Browns to get a top 12 pick, top 10 pick, whatever it may be, to land CeeDee Lamb, as that was their top priority target. So, however, goes to Dallas, and here you go. Dallas has a very elusive and very disgusting offensive weapons for Mr. Dak Prescott to throw to this season. So they are obviously the winners of the draft as well. Along with Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. They basically got who they needed. They went defense in the second round. They could have, their main concern was obviously the first round with defense. And here, let's take CeeDee Lamb. Let's screw the Eagles over this time. And, Jerry got all excited about it because, you know what? At the end of the day, they got Trayvon Diggs from Alabama, and they didn't even need it. They didn't even need a defender in the first round. They got who they needed. So Dallas, another winner of the draft. Minnesota Vikings as well. The Eagles, the past week on my show, I had us taking Justin Jefferson. And I mentioned that all throughout the last week on the show. It was the potential. Here we go, Eagles at 21. What do we have a chance to get? Mr. Justin Jefferson, who I always wanted, who a lot of people wanted. And then they take Jalen Reagor from TCU. Okay, that's okay, no problem. Another speedster, runs a 4.22, and basically as quick as it can be. A lot of Philly critics out there comparing him to Nelson Aguilar, and God, I hope that's not the case here. So Nelson has his targets. I know we picked up Marquise Goodwin as well from the 49ers, and we drafted a few other receivers. And Carson has his weapons now, so he shouldn't. There should be no complaints whatsoever from him. But on the other hand, Minnesota Vikings are to me are also another winner. They landed Justin Jefferson with a 22nd pick here, and they also took Israel Cleveland, another name that I was mentioning on the show Friday night with Aaron. A potential successor, starting left tackle behind Riley Reef, and by all means, they did it well. And then they doubled down at cornerback by taking Mississippi State's Cameron Dantzler. So they did what they had to do. They lost a little bit in the offseason. I know Diggs went to Buffalo. They lost a couple of their corners as well. So by all means, this Minnesota team addressed what they needed at their skill positions, and they did offensively and defensively. So congratulations to the Vikings. And on a side note, the Colts, by taking Jacob Eason, I know I owe Aaron a case or a six-pack of Yingling or a six-pack of his choice, because we did a small friendly wager about who would go first, Fromm or Eason. I said Fromm, he said Eason. However, the Colts take Eason first, so he gets a six-pack of his choice. So congrats, Aaron, there. But you know what? I just think there's a notable sign by the Colts and Buffalo to get Fromm to back up Josh Allen. I think that was a pretty decent signing as well too. So we will see what happens. As far as losers are concerned, first and foremost, the Green Bay Packers. What else can I say? They did not do anything essentially right for Mr. Aaron Rodgers there. They move up to draft Jordan Love, and a lot of people liked it. I didn't, but you have to understand that Brett Favre was 36 years old when they drafted the 22-year-old Aaron Rodgers out of Cal. And here we go. Aaron Rodgers is 36, and here they go drafting Jordan Love out of Utah State. How old is he? Another 22-year-old. Coincidence? Some might say yes, some might say no, but to me that was a reach. I don't think they needed a quarterback whatsoever. They needed a receiver, if anything. I mean, the fact that they moved up to 26 made me think that T. Higgins could have gone. That would have been my obvious guess at 26. It was a definite receiver for Green Bay, because you have Devontae Adams, who's arguably a top 3 receiver. To me, he's a top 3 receiver by far. And then you picked up Devin Funchess out of Carolina. So, I mean, it's a give or take situation, because Devin Funchess, if he's healthy, he's actually a pretty decent receiver. But to line up with Devontae, who else do they have? Green Bay has nobody else on the receiving end besides those two. You lost Jimmy Graham, so there's no big help whatsoever on the tight end spot either. So, what does this do for the Packers? It doesn't help Aaron Rodgers whatsoever. So, they could have gone T. Higgins. I thought that was the play there, but I guess they're going to I guess they felt like I guess the future is the way to go for Green Bay. It did not help Aaron Rodgers at all. He was brutally disappointed with that at all. I'm not sure what LaFleur was smoking that night, or let alone drinking. But and then on top of that, they draft A.J. Dillon, a running back, again a position that they don't need. The running back out of Boston College. To my knowledge, they have Aaron Jones, who's a top 10 fantasy running back, and they have Jamal Williams, who's also a pretty solid backup running back as well. Not sure why they did that as well. Another head scratcher to me. But it just seems like all signs are leading that Jamal Williams might be out of Green Bay. Again, not sure why. He is a pretty solid backup to Aaron Jones. And again, this is typical Green Bay. Maybe hungover from cheese that they ate the night before, but either way, I did not like the Packers draft at all. You go after players that they don't even need. I mean, let's face it, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer for the next 4 years. I mean, he has no signs of retiring yet. So I mean, what is Jordan Love going to be on the bench for 4 years? Yeah, probably. And just taking notes by each year. So he in the future, yes, he will be a good starter for the Packers, but he's going to have to wait a very long time to get that opportunity. And A.J. Dillon, again, another head scratcher in the second round. If it was anybody in the second round, I could have sworn that, hey, maybe they go receiver here, but didn't happen. But they did address the tight end situation with Josiah DeGuara, so that maybe helps out the fact a little bit. But to me, Packers fans out there should be highly disappointed. That was a very, very useless draft for the Packers, and just not a fan whatsoever. And to back that up, another loser, I should say, are the Patriots. They didn't address the quarterback situation. I know they could have got one later on, but they got Kyle Duggar, 24-year-old speedster who possesses some concerns regarding his lateral mobility. They got the edge rusher out of Michigan, which was great, Josh Uke, which was pretty solid. They did a lot of notes on him, and I saw him a lot, from watching Penn State games. So I think that would be a nice, solid addition to New England there. Michigan did not utilize him the best of his abilities, unfortunately, but New England do get some additions of the offensive linemen. They got a couple of guys there, and then in day 3, they reached out for a couple other ones as well. But edge rusher Anthony Jennings, tight end Dalton Nee, and then again Asiasi from UCLA. They backed up big time for Stidham and got 2 tight ends. So maybe they're going to go back to the modern day Gronk, Aaron Hernandez situation from years ago that we're used to seeing back then. So this could be the new day Patriots team that we've seen, from years ago in regards. But that basically wraps up my winners and losers. Also, a side note, the Ravens, I thought they had an amazing draft as well. If anything besides a receiver for the Eagles, I think they would have gone after Patrick Queen, the linebacker out of LSU. He kind of reminds me of a Ray Lewis, and what better fitting team for him to go to than the Baltimore Ravens. They also followed up with J.K. Dobbins, the running back out of Ohio State. It's also an amazing backup for Mark Ingram. They're both Bulls, and I think they're both going to be kick ass for this team to come, along with Patrick Queen for sure. They also got the defensive tackle Amada Buki and a couple other receivers. To name one, Devin Duvernay from Texas. Another a weapon for Lamar Jackson, because obviously right now he doesn't have much to throw to besides Mark Andrews. So Duvernay is a nice, solid signing pickup for the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, again, another team like this that is a winner is the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, it's just all these teams that worked out in the draft definitely worked out, and the losers unfortunately were losers. And to me, the Eagles, I think, were about mediocre. It's I wanted to say that they lost most of the draft. Not going after CeeDee Lamb was kind of a head scratcher to me when he was there up to 17, and kind of knowing that Dallas probably would have screwed us over this time, and that's what they did. So if I were the Eagles, I would have it as if they claimed, quote unquote, that they were on the phones with the Jets, the Browns, Atlanta, and even Jacksonville at 9. I was hearing that they could have moved up for. However, nothing came through. Typical Howie Roseman at his finest here. And I understand, you did address the receiver. I get it. I don't mind the pick, but I just feel like Justin Jefferson was more of a target for me than I think Jalen Reagor. Reagor to me was a second-round pick on my mock board that I had for the draft. Not even selecting the first round was Reagor for me. So to get him, that was a potentially that you could have gone him. You could have taken him in the second round if needed, because he was definitely going to be there in round 2 at 53. And honestly, I was going for a receiver. Round 1, Justin Jefferson. Round 2, you get Reagor, and I think you're set for the receiver side of things. But you go after in the second round, basically Mr. Hurts out of Oklahoma, the quarterback, and some people think it's a head scratcher. Some people thought it was the right call. To me, this is more of a head scratcher than anything. I'm not sure what direction they were going for in this situation. Not sure why they even drafted a quarterback. Again, Kevin was on our show Friday night discussing the draft, and the Eagles were up, and my reaction just said it all. And his clip is actually on my Twitter timeline. If anyone wants to have a chance to look at that, by all means do it. Not really sure what they're trying to do. Taysom Hill, Drew Brees, sort of a XY QB1, QB2 on the field about 50-60% of the time. Maybe this is what the Eagles are trying to do. To me, this is more of an insurance policy for Carson Wentz. We know his history of injuries. he finally had a healthy season this year, and followed up by, of course, a playoff injury from basically Mr. Jadeveon Clowney with the shot to the head, which was never addressed to begin with. So it's unfortunate that Carson goes into his first playoff game having all the hype possible and then gets hurt in the first quarter and doesn't return. So it could go either way. Hurts, we know, will be on the field. To me, this is some sort of a Cordell Stewart situation here. He could play quarterback, and he can run, he can catch, so he can do it all as a quarterback. And I really do think that he's going to be a special kid to come for the Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts. I liked everything about him. From transferring from Alabama to Oklahoma, he did that team very, very well. And, of course, throwing to his main boy, CeeDee Lamb there, too. So it would be nice to see a Hurts-CeeDee Lamb reconnection when we play Dallas this season. So it's going to be it's a hit or miss situation for Jalen. I hope the best for him. I like I said, I love him a lot, and I just think that he's going to be on the field more than people think. Let alone in the red zone. Eagles obviously drafted him in the second round for a reason. So whether it's insurance, whether it's simply because they like his tape and can see what he can do as a passer / runner, because we know he can run. And Carson kind of lost those skills ever since he had his couple ACL injuries. So Carson, obviously is more alert with certain situations. So that's why you bring in Jalen Hurts to kind of fix that issue and maybe do a little bit more of the running compared to passing. So, but we will see what happens. And that basically concludes the Tuesday, April 28th episode of Pete's Power Plays. I hope everyone enjoyed that show. I will be back on tomorrow. And Gina will be on as well, as we will be discussing the new Bad Boys movie. We're going to be watching that tonight, and we're huge Bad Boys fans. And we're going to give that a review for tomorrow. And then Thursday, I'm going to talk about more NHL news alongside with the finale of Westworld Season 3. So stay tuned. We have a lot to talk to this week on tap on Pete's Power Plays. Hope everyone has a fantastic Tuesday, and talk to you all tomorrow. Later.